Hi there, welcome back to TapRoots, your wellness source for natural remedies for babies through adults and even your pets. After opening our doors just a little over a year ago here at TapRoots, I cannot tell you how many hundreds and hundreds of people have walked through our door asking for a product specifically for energy or telling us about their chronic fatigue. And we are so excited to welcome back certified homeopath and lactation consultant, Melissa Crenshaw. Hi, Melissa.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. So excited.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here. And thank
Thank
you for
you.
taking your time to chat with us about post-viral fatigue this morning, a very hot topic at the moment. Um, I know you have a lot that you can share with us about that topic, so I'm going to let you get started.
Yeah, so really, yes, a lot of people are having post-viral fatigue. So whatever virus, it doesn't have to be a certain virus, but any virus that you have can leave you chronically fatigued. And I help people who have had chronic fatigue for 20 years. But also, I help people who are like, okay, I just got over this virus a few weeks ago and I'm still fatigued. So that's the lingering symptom. So I have two top remedies I want to share with you. One of them is probably very common. You've probably heard of it before, and the other one you've probably never heard of before. But both are going to be available at TapRoots. And so the my favorite, absolute favorite for chronic fatigue post virus is Gelsemium. Gelsemium is the yellow jasmine, so it's a vine. So it grows up, right? And as a vine, it has to grow up a trellis or a fence, a gate, and it has to hold on. It can't stand up by itself, Gelsemium. It cannot stand up by itself as a whole, as a vine, as a plant, right? So that's also the kind of weakness that you'll find in yourself or your family member who is struggling with fatigue. You are so weak, especially after an acute illness, and exhaustion can remain after a flu or a virus. And you'll think of gelsemium when you have the 4Ds. So this is something that I learned. I have to give credit to Dr. Robin Murphy. It's something I learned years and years and years ago in school. And so he described the 4Ds as drowsy, droopy, dizzy, and dull. And so the dizziness obviously is self-explanatory. Droopy, the eyes might be droopy, the body might be droopy. You're just so fatigued. You just walk around like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of a character that walks around like that, but I can't think of one right now. And then of course drowsy, you might look really drowsy, but you are just really drowsy. And dull is dull minded. So you might be apathetic, and really just have a dull mind, like I just really don't care what's happening. I'm just so weak. I don't really care about much of anything. And this is a weakness that's especially in the limbs. So your arms and your legs might be really weak and shaky. Um, the muscles in the neck can be too weak to hold up your head or have the sensation of that. So, not really that you're walking around with your head flopping around, but you might feel like, gosh, my neck muscles, I feel like I can't even hardly hold my head up. This is muscle fatigue, so all over the body, heaviness. It's hard to walk. It's hard to put one foot in front of the other. So remember in these descriptions, this is extreme. You might just feel like you might be just walking around and getting things done around your house or at work, but you might feel like this is just hard work just to walk around. Um, so you might feel like you want to sit and do nothing. All movements are slow, and you might be so tired that you feel your heart might stop if you don't keep moving. So you feel like you have to keep moving. So those are the gelsemium post-viral fatigue symptoms. And then the other remedy for post-viral fatigue, there are other remedies, but these are the top two. Onosmodium. Onosmodium. This is false cromwell. It's a plant. And this one is characterized by severe fatigue, weakness, and prostration, acts and feels as if he was born tired. So when you're thinking, when you're talking to your family member and you're trying to figure out which one of these two remedies is going to be best, let them describe their symptoms. Let them say how they feel. Don't lead them in any way, because if someone says, I feel like I was born tired on Osmodium, you're going to think of that one. So everything feels slowed down as you're moving through your day. You feel like, gosh, everything is just so slow. Time is slow. I'm moving slow. Muscles become weak and trembling on slight exertion. You might feel as if you have been exercising, but you haven't. So it's that kind of weakness. And possibly a weak feeling behind the knees and heaviness in the legs. So those are my top two favorites. I would say 30s and 200s are great starting points for as far as potencies. And because everybody wants to know potency and frequency, these are not protocols. So you're going to choose maybe a 30 or a 200, and maybe once a day for a week or two. So we're not trying to knock this fatigue out in 1 or 2 days. If you've got chronic fatigue, then we're looking at a few weeks maybe before you start really feeling better. So you go slow.
Okay, great information as always. So I know everybody's always looking for those details of what frequency and the potency. So what kind of signs would you say someone should be looking for to notice this remedy is acting, I'm noticing improvement, I should keep going with it versus trying something different?
Very good question. So in chronic conditions, which means you've had it more than 3 weeks, you need to give a remedy at least 8 weeks. I don't expect you to have to go 8 weeks with no improvement. I don't expect that at all. So there should be some improvements. You might see 2 steps forward, 1 step back. But at the end of 8 weeks, then you reassess the situation, and there should have been some change to tell you to stay with the remedy. So you are going to feel more energy. You're going to feel more strength in your limbs. And but after the also, if you have dizziness, if you're taking Gelsemium because you've got dizziness with this, then that's going to go away. So after 8 weeks, if you feel everything is exactly the same, choose the other remedy. Go to the second one.
Okay, perfect. And I know we get a lot of questions about whether or not homeopathic remedies interact with other drugs. Do you want to comment on that?
They don't. They absolutely don't. So occasionally, if you're on lots of medications, prescription medications, then they can hinder the action of remedies, but remedies will never interfere with your medications. So please feel free to continue your medications and use homeopathy along with them.
I'm glad you brought that up because this might help somebody out there who is struggling with fatigue. Maybe it's not because they just had a virus, but maybe they've been diagnosed with chronic fatigue syndrome, or maybe they have Lyme's disease, or they just can't even figure out why they're so tired all the time. And I know the first thing we try to just talk through with people that come into the store about whether or not they're taking other drugs that could be causing fatigue, right? Sometimes you get into a conversation and you find out their allergy medication is causing drowsiness or something like that. But what would you have to say for somebody that doesn't know where their fatigue is coming from?
Yeah. So if we know, once we, dig into the history, so look at your medications. If you're on lots of medications, you need to go, I like to use drugs.com, look at all the side effects of the medications that you're on. If fatigue is one of the side effects, homeopathy is not your answer. It might still help, but you need to then, okay, why are you on that medication? Then we'll use homeopathy to uproot that condition so that you can stop the medication so the fatigue can then be cleared up. But if you have chronic fatigue from Lyme or whatever, sometimes it's from mold exposure and it's not from a medication, then China, also known as cinchona. So I think the bottle itself usually says cinchona. Most of us say China. So I have often messed up by telling people to get China and they're looking everywhere and they're like, Melissa, I can't find China. So, I'm sorry, cinchona. It is not the same as Cinna, Cina, not the same. That's a very common question I get. So it is cinchona. And a 6C twice a day can be very helpful with that chronic fatigue when it's not from a virus or from medications. That's always where I start. It's beautiful.
So cinchona, you start in a 6 rather than a 30 or a 200.
That's what I usually like to do.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, great. Um, let's see. I know I had one more question for you, and I've just went out of my head, Melissa.
Why?
Yes.
Why
Thank
not?
you. Another thing we get asked all the time, why not, or why should we use homeopathy instead of, let's say, a vitamin B complex or green tea or caffeine? What's the reason behind that?
Yeah, good. Such a good question. So when you are fatigued or anything, but okay, we're just talking about fatigue. So if you decide to use caffeine, I think most of the people that shop at TapRoots and that use homeopathy know that that's not a good idea. But maybe there are some people that don't know. But let's say you're using, even if you want to use green tea or vitamin B complex or some other supplement, the reason that I would choose homeopathy and not those things is that those things are temporary. They're not going to uproot the condition. Homeopathy is the only natural medicine that actually uproots conditions. So there's nothing wrong with vitamins and herbs and, supplements if you like to use those things. But you're going to likely, if you find something that works, you're likely going to be using that for long, long, long term, where homeopathy is going to uproot the condition so that you don't have to use it anymore. That's why I would choose homeopathy over anything else.
Absolutely. I love that. And we send customers all the time to Melissa. We're constantly, probably daily, handing out her name and number, sending people to your website because Melissa is a certified homeopath. And we have people walk through the doors all the time with chronic conditions that you do need a professional to take your entire case. And give you an exact protocol, tell you which remedies, what frequencies, which potencies, and to walk through that journey with you. And so Melissa offers classes, she offers consultations. It's melissacrenshaw.com. You can reach out to us or go to her website directly, and we'll make sure we get you connected if you need someone to talk to. And she even offers free 15-minute consultations if you just want to chat with her about what you're going through to see if she would be a good fit for you. I know she's helped so many of our customers. Melissa, thank you so much for all that you've done and all of this free info that you gladly give us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. I so enjoy just speaking to your people, and I just appreciate the opportunity to be here. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, you guys. Well, you have a great day and we'll talk soon.
Bye.
Bye.